Yeah, that was a really cool thing to do. I've never been to a place where a tornado has hit in person. Until you see it, it's pretty amazing that you look at all the destruction and everything, and to realize that it happened a year ago. You would think by looking around that it happened, a week or two ago. But basically, a war veteran from Afghanistan and Iraq came home, and his home was pretty much it was gone. It was right in the path of where you see this tornado came through, and so FedEx and the Salvation Army built him a new home, and so he last night was his first night. My crew came in and basically helped unload some luggage or some furniture and put it all together in his house, and he basically got his home back yesterday.
That's great. We will open it up questions now for Jimmy. We'll take our first one from Ed, come back over to Chuck.
Ed Hinton, ESPN.com. Denny, when you look back at Daytona, the only indicator we have this year for this package, you were strong. Dale Jr. was pretty strong to be running solo like that. But is there concern that the Roush boys, especially Kenseth and Biffle, what are the chances that they could hook up like that and dominate again? What are the odds they could hook up like that anyway with all the wild scrambling that goes on?
Well, I think the X factor from Daytona to here will be temperature. I think that the ambient temperature is 25 degrees warmer at least from what we raced at Daytona. And I know temperature was there were a lot of temperature issues at Daytona. So I think that's going to be the wild card in the sense of I think we're all going to run pretty hot in the pack today. So it's really the two-car tandem. I don't see, even in practice, I don't see much. You won't see much of it, I don't believe, simply because everyone's going to be very temperature limited right from the get-go. But as far as those two Roush cars, I think that they were the strongest cars at Daytona, and I don't think that'll be much different. I mean, everyone really kind of had a shot to win at some point, but I feel like our cars are obviously struggling for single car speed, but I think that the pack kind of gets our RPM where our Toyota kind of likes it, and that's where we race well.
One quick follow-up based on Dale Jr.'s performance kind of by himself there and the way his team's improved steadily this year. Could Sunday be his best chance to win in a long time?
Well, if he backed up to me at Daytona, he would have won. But he didn't. He linked up to those other cars. But, really, I felt like that was our only shot, or his shot to win the race at Daytona was to back up to us and to try to get around the Roush cars because they were so strong. I think he's obviously got a ton of experience and a ton of wins on this track. So when you look at the schedule and you look at opportunities to win, I would say that this is probably his best shot at it.
Okay, we'll take a question from Chuck, then go over to Mike, Woody, and Jenna.
Chuck Howard, NASCAR Media Group. Denny, at Darlington, you've got 6 starts, an average finish of 6 with a victory as well. It's a place where some guys never figure out. Why do you think you've figured it out from day one?
It's tough to say. I mean, I think that really myself in particular just strive on harder racetracks to figure out the Poconos and the Martinsvilles and the tracks that are just, some people love and hate. It just seems like we just have adapted to it and found a way to get around the track. I was there not too long ago, a couple weeks ago, and it's amazing to see how much the surface has aged just since last year. The surface was white as snow, and basically what that is the rock starting to come up through the asphalt again, which I think is great for that racetrack. You'll see a little bit more tire wear than what we had in the past, and so whatever they paved that racetrack with seems to be pretty good stuff. So I think that you'll see great racing there again. For myself, I don't know. I just have a way of getting around the place. I really can't explain it.
Go ahead with your question, Mike.
Mike Muller, MikeMuller.net over here. Not the fan of the Flames, but Mike Ford was in there a few minutes ago and was talking about the changes, I guess, over last year. You talked earlier this year about the changes at your company. I know Greg left and all that. But he made it sound like it wasn't fun. That he was the odd man out over there in technology or something like that. Can you shed any light on that? Was he like wanting different cars or different engines, or what was the problem there?
Well, I mean, a little bit. I think that Mike. I'm a huge fan of Mike. I can't believe it took this long for the guy to get a job, but waiting for the right opportunity, and I think that given the right opportunity, he can be very, very successful. He, in my opinion, is one of the top 5 crew chiefs in this garage. I think that he was the reason we led that many, won that many races when we were together. But within our shop, he didn't always have the cooperation of everyone, and sometimes people didn't believe in him as much as maybe they should, or vice versa, or the other way around. So you got to have everyone in the shop back you 100%, and I think that he felt that he didn't have everyone's back. Everyone didn't have his back at Gibbs. So it just was one of those things where in time when things are good and you're winning, everyone's willing to listen to you and do whatever you want. But when you're struggling, I think he was having a hard time people buying into what he believed in.